My grandmother grew up in a little village outside Veracruz, where the houses leaned close together and the river ran just beyond the mango trees. She used to tell us stories whenever the power went out, her voice calm, her eyes fixed on the candlelight, and her favorite one was always about La Llorona. The weeping woman, the one who cried by the water. She said the story was older than the town itself. There once lived a young woman named Maria, beautiful enough that men crossed rivers just to see her face. She fell in love with a wealthy traveler who promised her everything: love, money, a home far from the dust and hunger. And for a while he kept that promise, until the day he didn't. When he returned years later, Maria ran to meet him by the river, her 2 children chasing behind. But the man wasn't alone. He sat on his horse beside a woman draped in jewels, laughing, as if Maria had never existed. That was the moment something inside her cracked. People say she didn't scream. She just walked into the river still holding her children close, and never walked back out. They found her shawl tangled in the reeds, but her body, and her children, were gone. That night, the whole village heard crying drifting from the water. Not the sound of a woman, but something older, a voice stretched thin with grief. Ay, mis hijos. My children. Since then, no one in the village walks near the river after dark. Grandmother said you can tell when she's close. The air turns colder, dogs start to whimper, and then the crying. If you answer her, even whisper back, she'll think you're her child. And she'll pull you into the water too. Once a man from town didn't believe any of it. He'd been drinking and claimed he'd prove La Llorona was just a story. He went down to the river with a lantern and shouted her name, daring her to appear. The next morning they found his lantern still burning by the bank, but the man was gone. Only footprints in the mud, leading straight into the water. When we were little, Grandma used to stop us at the gate if the sun started to set. She'd say, "The river takes what's given to it. Don't let it be you." And every stormy night, when thunder rolled over the hills, she'd sit by the window listening, just in case she heard that cry again. Sometimes I think she did, but she never told us. Now I live far from that village, but whenever it rains, I still hear her sometimes, a faint voice carried on the wind, weeping for what she lost. Maybe it's only the storm, or maybe grief like hers never really dies, because my grandmother always said, grief can echo louder than any scream, and sometimes it never fades.